I've talked about before how our confidence is created by our thoughts, by what we are thinking and how we are thinking. But it doesn't mean that it's always so easy to just think great things about ourselves and then we're going to all of a sudden feel great about ourselves. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, or because I'd be out of a job, our human brains are a lot more complicated and complex than that. A lot of times we have some subconscious belief or maybe even semi-conscious beliefs and thoughts and ideas that are keeping us stuck, that are preventing us from feeling good about ourselves. Some mindsets that we have adapted and adopted that are not doing us any favors. And so today I want to talk about some specific mindset shifts that you can have, that you can start intentionally working on, that will help you build your confidence. Because again, confidence isn't just something that you wake up with one day. Confidence is something that you build, that you work on, that you are intentional about. I think you're going to like these ones. They have all made a huge impact on my life and on the life of my clients and students. So I want to share them with you too. If you're new here, welcome to our incredible little corner on the internet. Take a second, introduce yourself in the comment section below. If you're back again, say hello as well. Love being able to connect with all of you. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel so that you can get notified when my new videos come out. Either way, my name is Kristina, and I'm a registered clinical therapist, a researcher, a coach, and the creator of my incredible membership community, the Shift Society, that you can get more information about in the description below. And if any of my shifters are here, identify yourself in the comments. Use the hashtag shifter. Love being able to know that you all are here. I help heart center go-getter men and women break through the crap that is holding them back so that they can like themselves and their lives more every day. And these mindset shifts will absolutely help you like yourself and your life more every day. And the first mindset shift, and this one can be a little bit tougher to adopt, but once we do, it is seriously life-changing. And this is the mindset or the belief or even just the thought that no matter what, I will be okay. And I'm not saying that everything will be fine, and this isn't about spiritual bypassing and being like, it's all good, there are no problems, whatever that is. But that decision that even not being okay is okay. And this is a form of acceptance of self, acceptance of life, acceptance of what is, because denial of that creates a lot of internal tension and a lot of resentment and frustration and anger within ourselves. It goes along with one of my favorite quotes by Seth Godin. He's actually a business mastermind, I think, but he brings a lot of personal development stuff into his business teaching. And he said that as long as we agree that whatever happens is okay, it always will be. So this means that it's okay to not always be okay. It's okay to have hard days. It's okay to struggle. That so often, so many of our problems are created with resistance to what is, instead of saying, this is part of being human. And this is okay. That pain is okay. That struggle is okay. I'm not saying that it's right or that it's good, but it just is. And then as soon as we are able to accept that this is part of life, then we are able to work with it and be able to deal with it, to heal from it, to move through it, because resistance and rejection just of something that is, right? Resistance and rejection of something that just is does not allow us to face it or deal with it or move through it. The next mindset shift that will help you build your confidence is to remind ourselves that I am only responsible for how I show up. I am not responsible for what other people think about that. And I've talked about this before, that you are not responsible for other people. You're not responsible for other people's thoughts, other people's ideas, other people's choices, other people's feelings, because you can't control that. You are responsible for your own thoughts, your own feelings, your own ideas, your own ideals, your own choices, because you have say over that. That is in your jurisdiction. And so taking responsibility for how I show up, but not taking responsibility for how someone else is going to interpret that. Now, that being said, when it comes to other people, it doesn't mean there's no responsibility. If we want to have relationship, we are still responsible to them. We're not responsible for them, we're responsible to them. We're responsible to be respectful, to be compassionate, to be kind, whatever it is, whatever your values are, you are responsible to be demonstrating those things to others, but not taking responsibility for them. Taking responsibility for yourself. As long as you are showing up in your own integrity, you are showing up with respect, as long as you are showing up with good intentions, you don't have to sit and obsess about how someone else might be receiving that. You don't have to sit and ruminate on it and stress about it and overthink about it. What you need to do is be responsible for yourself and for how you are showing up. Now, a little bit of a caveat to that is to again not say, well, I'm just going to do what I'm going to do, and however it impacts, as long as I have good intentions, then I'm not going to worry about it. Because sometimes there is such thing as impact, right? The impact that we have is more important than our intentions. So if we've had an impact that has been harmful or hurtful or detrimental to someone else, even if our intentions were good, it is important that we are willing to open up and listen to that, right? That we're able to hear that person say like, hey, that really hurt or harmed me in a significant way, even though your intentions were good, so that we're able to put our ego aside and be able to listen to that. The next mindset shift that will build your confidence is to know that your mind is always listening. And this one has to do with, especially with self-deprecating humor and also just sort of self-deprecating things that we say to and about ourselves, either out loud or in our own heads. So to know that your brain doesn't always know the difference between when you're serious and when you're just sort of making an offhanded comment, when you're just sort of like throwing yourself under the bus, just kind of making a joke about yourself. Your brain doesn't know the difference. Your brain just hears the words and then stores those words. If you're like, oh my gosh, I'm such an idiot. Oh my gosh, I can't do anything right. Oh, I'm such a loser. Oh, you know me, just always messing things up, right? And kind of like making a joke about yourself in this way. Just as an aside, I think it's important that we develop a sense of humor. We don't take life so seriously, but it's not the kind of humor that's the self-deprecating, throwing ourselves under the bus, saying actually horrible things to and about ourselves, but doing it with a laugh and thinking that gives it a pass. Absolutely not. To know that your brain is listening, it matters. It matters what things you say about yourself out loud and to yourself. It matters whether or not you catch it and stop it or turn it around. It matters. Your brain is logging it. And how you feel about yourself is sort of the culmination of the thoughts that you believe about yourself. And a belief, more often than not, is just a thought that we have continued to think and agreed is true. Right? We've just decided, I've thought this thought, and now I'm going to agree that it's true, and now it's become a belief. Knowing that your mind is always listening. Knowing that it matters what you say to and about yourself. Try this one, just for fun. Take a week. We actually did this in the Shift Society. We had a 2-week no self-criticism challenge where I gave people exercises and things to do every day to be really mindful of their self-criticism. And even just after 2 weeks of the people who participated who were doing this had some pretty significant shifts in how they were feeling about themselves just by being mindful about the words they were using to talk to and about themselves. So you can try it and give it a go and notice how you feel if after you give yourself, a few days, if not longer, of not saying crap about yourself, to yourself, about yourself, or to anyone else about yourself. The next mindset shift that will build your confidence is maybe counterintuitively the mindset that I don't need to be right. This is a big one for a lot of us. And sometimes we think that like being right and sort of proving that I'm right is going to build my confidence. When I can show everyone that I am right, that they are wrong, then I'm going to feel better about myself. And well, maybe sometimes it feels good to be right. But then sometimes we get ourselves involved in arguments and trying to be right and fighting for things. And we get kind of stuck in these like pissing matches. And it doesn't feel good, and we don't feel good about it when we get pulled into it, especially when we start to fight dirty. We start to act in ways and say things and treat people in ways because we're getting all caught up in the tension and the frustration and the anger that's I need to be right. And it's kind of like the gloves come off and all the rules go out the window. And we do things and say things that we regret. And then we feel terrible about ourselves. Because we're like, I did that. I can't believe that I did that. That was not okay. I don't like that I let my emotions take over like that and and that I allowed myself to treat another human being in that way. That's not living in my integrity. That's not what's important to me. That's not consistent and congruent with who I truly am. And I don't like that I did that. So sometimes not needing to be right. This doesn't mean that we don't sometimes stand up for and speak up for the things that are important to us, but we don't have to try and force other people to agree with us in order for us to believe strongly and think, stand firm in what we think and to stand firmly in what we think. That we don't have to have them think that we're right. We might think that we are right, and we are allowed to think that we are right, but we don't need everyone else to think that we are right. And you will notice this with people that are really confident. They don't fight dirty because they don't have anything to prove. They know who they are. They know what they believe. They are solid in that, and they don't need other people to acknowledge that or to even think that in order for them to think that. You don't have to prove anything when you already know it. And then the next mindset shift that will help you build your confidence is the mindset or the thought that I can do things that are challenging or uncomfortable. This might seem like a bit of an odd one around building confidence, but the truth is, when we are stepping into life, when we are experiencing life, when we are allowing ourselves to take on challenges and facing them and learning and growing and expanding in that process, we feel good about ourselves. We feel proud of ourselves. We feel good about life when we are experiencing more of life, when we're not letting things like fear or self-doubt talk us out of it. When we're not just sort of staying in our comfortable little bubble of never stepping out and stepping into things that we actually might even like, that are important to us, but we're not letting ourselves do it because we think it might be uncomfortable. Letting ourselves be uncomfortable, letting ourselves stretch. You have to stretch in order to grow. And now, just as a little caveat here, we want to be mindful of this and that we're not pushing ourselves too far too soon. Because as much as the human brain is very adaptable to change, it is also very resistant of change, which is kind of a funny thing. Like, we hate change. The human brain hates change, but it's also very adaptable to change. But it works best when it's kind of slow, intentional, incremental changes that are just a little bit uncomfortable. If we try to do something that is way too uncomfortable right off the bat, then it's just going to feel really wrong. It's going to feel so just like terrible that we're never going to want to do it again. So we'll just get through it and then we'll never do it again. So let's say you have this fear of public speaking, but you want to get better at public speaking. So you tell yourself for your first speaking gig, you're going to go speak in front of 500 people. That is going to feel terrible. And you're probably, if you do it, if you get through it, you're going to sweat and like just want to run away the entire time. It's going to feel terrible the whole time. And it's going to feel so bad that you're going to say, I am never doing that again. But if it's just about, talking in front of a couple people, A couple people that you know at first, and then slowly, incrementally moving up the ladder until, you get to your bigger goal. But those slow, progressive, intentional changes that create some discomfort so that you're growing, but not so much that you just want to run away and hide and never do it again. I'm curious though, I want to hear from you all in the comment section below. What are some things that you have been avoiding that are actually important to you, things that you want, but you've been avoiding because you've been letting fear or self-doubt talk you out of it, because you have been letting fear or self-doubt telling you that it's going to be uncomfortable and you shouldn't do uncomfortable things. I would love to hear in the comment section below what that is for you. And then even what's going to be your first step in that direction. What's going to be the first thing that you do in the direction of your goal that is going to make you a little bit uncomfortable, but you are going to remind yourself that you can do difficult, challenging, and uncomfortable things. So I want to hear all of that in the comments. What is it you've been wanting to do? What's going to be the first step? And what are you going to remind yourself of when your brain starts to tell you that you can't do it, it's going to be too hard, what are people going to think? Any of that crap. And then our last mindset shift that will help you build confidence. I have talked about this before. Hopefully, if you've been here for a while, this is not a brand new thing to you, but it is such an important one for so many of us who are feeling trapped in our lives, feeling stuck in our lives, doing a lot of things out of guilt or obligation, not doing things that we want to do, not actively pursuing a life that is important to us, and maybe even neglecting and rejecting ourselves in trying to always do what other people want. And this mindset shift is that you are allowed to say no when you want to, and yes when you mean it. Now, again, this doesn't mean you're never there for anyone else, but you're not doing a bunch of stuff out of guilt. You're not feeling forced. You're not letting yourself think that you are being forced or coerced into something that is really, is wrong for you, or that you really don't want to do. That when you are saying yes to things, you are making sure that that is something that you want to do. That even if it's something that may not be your first choice, they don't really want to do it, but you are intentionally saying yes and allowing yourself to not do, like, begrudgingly and be like, oh, I don't want to do this, and this person's forcing me into it. Being like, you know what, this one I'm going to take for the team. This one I'm going to show up, and even though I don't really want to do it, I am going to do it because it's important to me to show this person that I care about them, or to invest in this relationship in this way, or to be building my career in this way, or whatever it is, because then we're actually not doing something that we don't want to do. We've changed from not wanting to do it to wanting to do it because we want the outcome that comes with it. You see how that works? So we're not doing something we don't want to do because we've decided that we want to do it because of the outcome that will likely come if we do it. This means, though, that we're not doing things that we really don't want to do, and then we're feeling frustrated and angry and bitter and resentful the whole way through. Because then it creates the thought that, this person's forcing me to do it, and I have to do this, and I can never speak up for myself, or what I want doesn't matter. And we create all of this stuff that makes us feel terrible about ourselves. Instead of understanding that more often than not, no one can actually force us to do anything. We just don't want to have the thought that comes with that person not liking our choice. That was a bit complicated. I've talked about this more in other videos, but just take that for a second and just sort of notice that the reason why we do things that we don't want to do is because we don't want someone to have a thought about us that is not going to be a thought that we want them to have, because then we're going to have to deal with our own thoughts about their thoughts, and we don't want to deal with that. And so we'd rather do something that we don't want to do so that we don't have to worry about what someone else is going to think. But here's the thing. As we've talked about, if I'm not taking responsibility for someone else's thoughts, then this whole philosophy, this whole idea is dead in the water. It doesn't matter. Saying no. If that's something that you struggle with, I have a guide for you. It is 25 ways to say no. It's free. It's in the description below. You can grab that. Just some easy, straightforward, yet kind ways of saying no that will get you started as you work on building better boundaries, healthier boundaries, the mindset shifts required in order to have those healthy boundaries in your life. Let me know what connected with you from this. I would love to hear in the comment section below. If you haven't liked the video, share it out. If you thought it would be helpful, like it. That really helps get this in front of more people. And it also helps me to be able to continue and do this work because I know that you like it. And get more information about the Shift Society in the description below as well. Until next time, take good care.